It's the last week that we're here in Rand Club. We've had a fantastic journey here, and we've got a sale on at the moment. And my old friend Chris Parkinson has popped in to have a look at some books. Just quickly, Chris, I love your channel, Red Coat History.
Thank you.
Can you just tell us briefly what it's all about?
Yeah, so basically it's a place to express my love for British military history.
Yes.
So I make videos on all aspects of British military history, from the American War of Independence all the way through to modern times, really.
Yes.
I'd say my biggest focus is probably Zulu War,
Okay.
which is one of the reasons I love coming in here, because you've got lots of Zulu War books.
Yes.
And also Peninsular War, sort of Portugal and Spain, Napoleonic era. So if anyone's watching and that's eras of history that they like, then they should check it out. Just youtube.com/redcoathistory.
And you call yourself an enthusiast, so just expand a bit on that.
Yes, so I try and avoid the word historian because I don't see myself as a serious historian. I'm not, I don't have a PhD, I don't even have a master's. I'm just someone who loves the history of the British military and wants to share stories, really. You know, I'm not interested in arguing over small details in journals, and wasting years doing that. I'd rather get out there, walk the ground, read the stories of the men who were there and share them to a new generation. That's kind of what I'm hoping to do, because I feel that there is a danger a lot of these stories get lost if people like myself aren't sharing them in new and interesting ways for people who maybe don't like reading books all the time.
I agree with you, and it makes it accessible.
That's the
in
goal.
a multimedia way. So I really commend your channel. It's great.
Oh, thanks.
So did you see any books today that excite you?
Do you know, I was just saying, this is the danger, because there's so many. Where do you start? So, I mean, can we walk over and I'll show you some I've got my eye on.
Yeah.
So, obviously a few less books than usual because of the move.
Yes.
But over here in your sort of KZN section and so forth,
Yeah.
immediately there's books that are jumping out and catching my eye. And for the record, I'm not a collector at all. I'm just someone who loves good stories and loves finding rare and interesting books that will illuminate certain parts of the past for me. So I'm interested in obscure units. You've got here Mounted Police of Natal by Holt.
Oh, yes.
Obviously, they were at the Battle of Isandlwana. Major Dartnell wrote the introduction for this. So I'm sure this would be a fabulous read, looking at their history throughout the Zulu War and the Anglo-Boer War. So that's one that would be great. Here we've got, I'm almost scared to pick it up. It's a first edition. I'm being very careful as I pick that up. History of the Zulu War, Francis Colenso. Yeah. And I think it's based on a lot of the papers of Lieutenant Colonel Durnford as well. So that's a bit of a collector's item, isn't it?
And also that it was published so close to the end of the Zulu War.
Yes.
So I'm led to believe that this is a contemporary item. And that's why people, when they want to get close to it, they go for books like that.
Yes, and obviously, we don't want to get too into the nitty-gritty, but Durnford was a bit of a scapegoat for what happened at Isandlwana. Rightly or wrongly, there's arguments both ways. And this was an attempt to kind of rescue his reputation after the battle, So I haven't actually read it end to end. I've read excerpts from it. So, there's a cracking one. Obviously, you've got Donald Morris, Washing of the Spears, a classic of the Zulu War. Also one that's maybe led to a few myths that have gone down now that people assume to be the truth, such as the soldiers on the firing line running out of ammo, that sort of thing. But a great read nonetheless. So you've got so much here, it's almost impossible to know where to start. I mean, what are some of your favourites, James?
Chris, on that note, you'll see here's Punch, for example. So they're contemporary woodcut illustrations of the Zulu War in Punch. So, that is under the Zulu War section, which is also quite interesting.
I hadn't put two and two together.
So there is, one can expand a topic such as that quite endlessly on the one hand.
Yes. Wow, and then other ones I've got my eye on here are from the Transvaal War, 1880 to 81. Lady Bellaire's book, I've read it on archive.org, the sort of digitised, but I might have to pick a copy of that up before I get out of here, just to have one with me.
There is something about holding a rare book, isn't there?
Absolutely. And I just feel it gives such a window into the past that reading contemporary books doesn't really do somehow, because, I don't know, like it's just so much rawer. I think Lady
Yes.
Bellairs herself was actually at the Siege of Pretoria, if I'm
Yes.
not mistaken. I could be wrong there,
Yeah.
but I think that.
Yeah.
So she was an eyewitness to things herself, I believe, or at least her husband, Colonel Bellairs, was
Yes.
definitely involved.
Yeah.
So loads of good stuff. I mean, for me personally, what I find particularly interesting as well, if we could move across this way,
Yes.
and I think I may be spending a little bit of money on this set today as well. Things like this as well. So Her Majesty's Army,
Yes.
Volume 1 and 2. So.
Yes. And why that one particular set particularly?
Because I have a real interest in the history of individual regiments and corps of the corps of the army,
Yes.
and it's great to have something, a reference work,
Yes.
where you can look at what were the facings, what were the battle honours, what year
yes,
were they
with it
formed.
beautifully illustrated.
Yes.
Yes.
What are the official battle honours? You know, because if you Google online, sometimes it can be hard to piece together the different histories that you find. So something like that for me, I think I'm going to pick up a copy
And
of
also,
that.
don't you find Google at this stage is still a bit confusing because they might bring up modern colours? It's
Very much
not
so.
collated.
Yes. So I recently did a video. It ended up being over half an hour long on the history of the modern Royal Yorkshire Regiment and their antecedent regiments.
Yes.
So all the way back to like the 14th, 15th regiments of foot, and
Okay.
then the 33rd, and trying to piece that together was actually really difficult. So
Yes.
something like that would probably speed up that process and make it
Yes.
a bit easier, you know.
Yes.
So
and a contemporary illustration you're using when you're talking about
Exactly.
it. I
Exactly.
love that, yes.
Yeah, so lots to keep me busy here. I'm sad to hear that you're
Yes.
leaving, but I hope
Yeah.
we'll keep in touch, and hopefully I'll be down to see the new
Yes,
spot.
absolutely. And then you'll pop into Cape Town. And
Definitely.
I'll be glad to show you around there.
Fantastic. Cheers.
Anyway, Chris, thanks so much for popping by.
Lovely.
Great to chat to you.
Don't tell my wife I was here spending money.